Good morning and welcome back towards another video, and today we are going to be going over the Blackwing layer. Let us begin. Okay, so what we're going to be wanting to do is head all the way over towards the Blackrock Mountain, located in the Burning Steppes of the Searing Gorge. What you're going to be wanting to do is run your way all the way over into this area here, and one particular thing is I would highly recommend running it on a Skinner. We're going to be wanting to go over towards the Orb of Command and then place my hand on it in order to port myself into the actual raid itself. Now the first boss is relatively straightforward. He used to be a pain in the bum ages ago, however this is not that hard anymore, as you can just control the boss by clicking the orb, and I've done it so many times it's just normal now for me. And what you're going to be wanting to do is just spam 2 on your keyboard in order to destroy every single one of the eggs. And then once that's done, you just take out the boss right now, and then you can actually keep going. One little side note is you actually get the judgment bindings from this particular boss as well. So if you're going for some transmog for your paladin, you can run it on, hit them. And alongside that, you've then got Valastraz the Corrupt. Now, there is quite a hefty amount of RP involved in this, but alongside this, what you're really going for is if you bring your Skinner, because you can get a load of different types of old school items from this. Once you've taken out Valastraz the Corrupt, you want to actually gather up some of these mobs. There's a little trick with these guys, and if you run over to the wall instead of the actual stairs, we'll actually be able to see if we can actually pull it off right now, as these mobs tend to have an ability in which they can actually push you to the side of over the wall. Now if you've got a Demon Hunter, this makes it a lot easier, because then you can just glide your way forward once you're actually too high, and that means you can overstep. If you run over to this bush right now, when they actually come and charge you, they'll push you over the bounds, and then you can just leap over the walls instead of being completely stunned, or instead of being slowed all the time with the other mobs. See how easy that is to actually clear, and you don't have to waste time going through all of these guys. The only other thing that you need to bear in mind is those mobs will come up, so just open up a AoE effect, and then that will just burn all those mobs down as they come through for you, because they can still deal all of that damage. Another thing is, if you bring a Skinner, you can skin these mobs for additional gold or leather in order to sell on the auction house. The most common one is rugged leather, of course, and that's currently going for around about 8 gold a piece. However, the sell rate on this is 0.2, so that's going to sell relatively fast. However, what we're really going for is those black dragon scales that you get alongside this. Now, farming up on a load of different mobs, I would also recommend taking out Firemaw almost immediately, because when you're actually gathering up all these mobs, he can inflict extra burn damage on you, and it actually can kill your character even if they are max level, so just be prepared for that. The next thing of note is just to beeline it to the next load of bosses, and by doing that you can actually just run all the way through that way. I'm using my ability Consume Magic in order to pull aggro on these mobs, as it doesn't do any damage to me, so I can still gather up that loot. And if you see just there's the Master Elemental Crix, and basically that mob has a chance of dropping the enchanted elementium smelting recipe for your mining, and that can be used to generate some more gold as well. You can't sell that recipe, however if you don't have it, it's well worth your time in order to actually do that way, as that just works out really well in the long run when you're actually farming all of these mobs up. Some of these mobs are actually immune to some spell effects, so if you're running it on a mage, you're going to have to auto attack some of these mobs down in order to actually kill them faster. However, once that's actually done, we can then just skin those mobs, and we can farm it up that way. The blackened dragon scales, on the other hand, if we just go over towards black dragon scales, we can see that they're going for 25 gold a piece from this actual raid as well, and they come from all of these different types of mobs that you're actually slaying at this point in the raid. and that works out quite well to just increase our gold value and increase the gold that you can get alongside that. Along with the actual raid, you can actually have because of so many mobs in this actual raid, you actually have a chance of getting a hold of a load of the world drops, which is very good, especially if you're going for those rare ticket items. One of the favorite ones that I've actually gotten multiple times is the recipe for the lifelike mechanical toad in this actual raid, and it works out quite well in the grand scheme of things when it comes towards recipe, because generally speaking, that recipe for me has sold time and time again, and I believe the last time I actually sold it was around about 30k for that recipe, so it worked out. Now, this is why you bring in your Skinner, because you kill 𝐆𝐀𝐌𝐄, you have a chance of getting the battle pet, which is the whistle of the chromatic bone. But realistically, what we're going to be wanting to do is skin 𝐆𝐀𝐿, as he has a chance of dropping some of these rare items that can only be obtained from 𝐆𝐿. These are the blue dragon scales, which sell for around about 432 gold per piece, along with the red dragon scale, 35 gold per piece, and the brilliant chromatic scales for 110 gold. In the lore, he's a composite of all the Dragonflights, and that means he has a chance of dropping pretty much all of the different types of dragon scales, that even the ones that are no longer obtainable in game. He's one of the only ways to get a hold of like blue dragon scales in the grand scheme of things. Now, when it comes towards the last boss, Nefarian, he has a chance of dropping the Orb of Deception when it comes towards him being actually slain. And that means that the Orb of Deception is at a 0.2% drop chance, so when you actually take him out, he has a chance of dropping that item. What you're going to be wanting to do is run over towards this pillar right here and just wait till all of these mobs have stopped spawning and then burn them all down. Otherwise they will keep spawning, and then you're going to have to wait for Nefarian to actually come out of the sky. So though, if you just wait till they all spawn, burst them all down in one go, and then Nefarian will actually just land and you can take him out that way. And once he's dead, all you have to do is loot him up and you'll get a quest to return his head. But realistically, we're going for those additional yellow sacks because they can contain arcane crystals as well. So we gained an arcane crystal, 250 gold from that, along with a load of other different types of gems. And then you have these blue BOE items, which depends on your server. However, on my server they don't go for an awful lot because they sell typically quite fast. And the elementum ingots, I forgot to mention, you actually get these just from the mobs just in general, and they go for around about 49 gold. Overall, the Blackwing Lair is one of those easy gold farms, especially if you're with a Skinner, because you get like loads of these different types of items to sell on the auction house, and you also run the chance of getting a hold of some really good BOE items. Alongside that, once that's actually done, you can then cage all of your different types of pets and then sell all of those on the auction house as and when. Other than that, if you want any other additional gold making resources or information, then please feel free to go towards the Patreon. And alongside that, have an awesome rest of the day, and I shall see you in the next video, which will be soon.